Hello, I'm Nikki Lewinson, Head of Business Development for Team Champanosian, and I wanted to welcome you to today's first-time homebuyer seminar with the amazing Adriana Schultz, top agent. We are super excited to get started. I have here today Champanosian, the #1 loan originator in the entire country out of 500,000, and Adriana. Adriana is going to walk you through the entire process, and I'll let you take it from here. Thanks, Adriana.
Thank you so much, Nikki. I really appreciate everybody's time for joining us today at this wonderful webinar. So first of all, a little bit about me. I have been selling real estate since 1994. I actually started in Germany. I'm originally from Germany. I started selling real estate there. I came to the United States and I started selling real estate in the United States in 1999. So I've been doing this for a long time. I truly love what I do, which I know I'm very fortunate saying that, but because a lot of people, obviously, they do something every day they don't like to do. I truly love what I'm doing. I love helping people. I like everything about real estate. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. Again, I've been doing this for a long time now. So to walk you through the process a little bit. So first of all, what I tell everyone, you need to find an experienced, seasoned real estate agent. And it's very, very important. It's always been very important, but more so now because we're in a very, very competitive real estate market. So you want to go out, and I always tell everyone that I meet when they say, oh, how can I find a great real estate agent? Ask your friends, your family, co-workers. Referrals are, in my opinion, always the best way to go. Don't just go online and type in realtor. Ask first your sphere of influence, who they have used before. And that's how I actually get pretty much 95% of my business are all past clients, their referrals, they send me to their friends, family, so forth. So that is super important. You want to interview your realtor that you choose. So you ask your friends, family, you have a few names, set up a meeting, if it's a Zoom meeting or personal meeting. Right now, most of the meetings that I do, the first meeting is a Zoom meeting just because of the time we are in. And interview the agent, have some great questions for the agent. How long have you been doing this? Are you doing it full time? Most importantly is, and Nikki, please tell me if I talk too much, but oh,
you've got good information for us. We'll take it.
Good, and I try to do it very quick because again, everybody's time is very valuable. So I'll try to move right along. So you want to ask first and foremost, is your realtor that you're interviewing, is he or she doing it full time? Real estate is not a business that you can do part time. It simply does not work part time. Your realtor has to be available at any time. I do work 7 days a week, and I know it sounds crazy, but if you want to be successful in this business and help your clients the way they are supposed to be helped, you need to be available 7 days a week. Again, part-time will not work. When you find a home, your agent has to be there, has to be available whenever you want to see it, because otherwise it could be gone the next day. Also, another thing, why you have to find somebody that experiences, you can only have the connections that, for example, I have in this business if you have been doing it for a long time. So it's not so much also about, knowing what you're doing, but who you know as well, just like in any other business. It's what you know and who you know. I have obviously a lot of experience, but I've also established so many great relationships over the last 22 years. And realtors know that when I bring them a client, the transaction will go smoothly because the clients that I bring to the table will be very well pre-approved by Shant. And also I now, walking the clients through the process. Again, it's super important that you know the other agents that are around and they know that I deliver what I promise on delivering with my client, and it will be a smooth transaction.
Amazing. Is there anything else? So once somebody starts working with you, how do you walk them through from getting pre-approved through closing? Like, what is their day-to-day with you out there on the mean streets?
Yeah. Okay. So first, after the first meeting, and then hopefully, obviously, the buyer will select me. I, usually say to people, obviously, if you select me working with me, it's just one agent. There can only be one agent on each side and each transaction. So a seller's agent, the buyer's agent. then I'll tell everybody you need to get a pre-approval letter. Don't go out and look at anything if it's with me or anybody else unless you have been pre-approved by the Sean Panosian team, preferably. And without that letter, again, don't even, don't go out. There's not, you might be able to afford more than you thought or less, but either way, you want to be now what it is you can comfortably afford and still live your, day-to-day life. You don't want to just be, as I call it, house poor and, put all your money into your mortgage. You want to live too, right? So then I'll set you up on my daily email search. So I listen to you on the conversation that we have, what it is you're looking for, areas, where to, when you would like to be in your new home. So I listen to all of this. I put you into my daily email search, and I'll send you listings that go along with your needs and wants. And then as soon as you see something that pops up in those daily emails that I sent you, I would schedule the appointment. You always want to call me to schedule all the appointments. Don't call any other agent. I like to always be there at each viewing. Sometimes it is impossible, but then I will send you to the open house. If there is no open house, I will join you and walk you through the home. Look at homes with you, and then basically go from there.
Amazing. That's full service, and it's so helpful to know. We got some great feedback already from people on the call, really understanding. So next, I'd love to hear a little bit about, and this is actually one of the questions that just came in, what does your team look like as far as lender, attorney, inspector, agent? I know you have a very preferred list that only your clients get access to.
Correct. That is true. Yeah. I have my golden list, as I call it, from all people that I recommend that I've been working with for many years and that I now work very well for me and my buyers. And obviously one is my lender, Sean Panosian and his team. And then I have preferred attorneys that I work with, home inspectors and insurance agents. The reason why I like to recommend these people that I've worked with for many years is because I know if everybody on my team is, on this particular transaction with my buyers, things will get done. And it's very important for the client, because if the team doesn't work together, in the end, it will actually hurt the client. So we might have time delays, or, things don't get done in a certain way, and it will hurt the client. And the closer the team works together, the better the end result will be, and the less stress and the less work will be there on the client, which is obviously the ultimate goal, to save the client as much time and what's the word, and stress as possible.
I love it. So next up, we're going to have Sean just briefly. Will you tell us a little bit about what's going on in the market, just with a couple minutes, and then also what happens when somebody gets sent to you for pre-approval?
Absolutely. So, what the first thing we're doing right now, guys, is I'll start with the pre-approval, and I'll get into the market, why all this stuff's important. So with the pre-approval, we're simply evaluating your credit, your income, and your assets. Okay. So we want to really understand, those are the three qualifying factors. So if you're wondering, like, hey, what does pre-approved mean? That means a lender has done a credit check, understood your income, and figured out where your down payment's coming from. Okay. Simply, those are the three things that we want to know every single time. Now, with that information, we're going to provide you a ton of information. So we're going to make sure you're budgeting properly for everything. We're going to make sure you understand what your max pre-approval is. We're going to differentiate what your comfort zone is. We're going to make sure you're budgeting for your monthly payment, down payment, closing costs. Then we're going to get into loan programs. We're going to get into interest rates. We're just going to arm you with a ton of information. You're making in my opinion, probably life's biggest purchase, right? It's super important. It's a massive goal for people. We want to make sure that you go into that like just armed with all the financial information in order to make a big decision. Okay, so we want you going into it. I always tell my clients, after you're done speaking to me, I want you to be able to knock those things out and be able to answer those questions. If I was to give you a pop quiz at the end, you'd be able to say, this is my max pre-approval. This is my comfort zone. These are my payments. These are my down payment options. These are how much my closing costs are going to be. This is the type of loan program I'm going to go with. And we're going to help you. We're going to help you figure all that stuff out. So, with all that information. Now, why I want you to know all that stuff is, I want you to be confident. I want you to be knowledgeable. I want you to be prepared, because it's a very, very cutthroat environment right now. And I do agree with what Adriana said. Working with my clients that are having the most success right now are working with the absolute best real estate agents out there, because they're armed with so much information as well in terms of the relationships they have, the access to things like MLS, off-market listings, and then just great negotiating ability. It's very hard for a buyer to decipher, how much to offer in order to kind of win a house, whether you're overpaying or underpaying, or how to structure your offer. So I think it's massively important to work with an amazing real estate agent such as her. But what's going on in the market right now, guys, and is a couple things. Rates are at all-time lows, so that gives our clients more buying power, and that's really, really important, because over the last few years, home prices have been going up. Now, why the market's so hot? Inventory is super low. In fact, in 2021, inventory is 25% lower than it was last year, and it's at an all-time low. So there's less houses for sale. However, rates are low, so that creates more buying power. And mortgage applications are actually up 25% from this time last year. And last year was one of the hottest markets we've ever seen. So you got more people applying for mortgages, less houses for sale, fueled by super low rates. And then on top of that, this pandemic's caused a major motivating event in terms of people just getting really excited, having new goals and new needs for housing. So they're excited about moving and moving fast. So it's just really, really important. That's kind of the market update, is like, in a nutshell, in a 1-minute version, what's going on and why it's so important to, A, in my opinion, work with the right people, and B, really know your numbers and get this stuff figured out in advance. If you think you're going to buy a house in the next 4 or 6 months, you should get pre-approved now, because you just never know. There's such little inventory in the market, and things move so fast right now that you just never know if that right house is going to come on the market tomorrow. And if it does come on the market, what we're seeing is, bidding wars. I think 50% of all homes across the country right now are in bidding war situations. So that means you need to know your numbers. You need to be prepared. You need to be able to act fast. And what happens by being prepared, being confident, being knowledgeable, having these meetings up front, it slows everything down. It eliminates stress. It eliminates anxiety, because you already know the numbers. You know your answers. And so you know how it impacts everything. And in my opinion, that makes you a stronger borrower and a stronger buyer, because you're more empowered to make decisions, and it's just the right way to do it. So in a nutshell, that's what goes into a pre-approval, and that's what's going on in the market right now.
Thanks so much, Sean. So we have a couple questions that have already come in, and I wanted to say the other thing that makes Adriana and Sean super unique is they're available basically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So what Adriana alluded to was that when you're ready to make an offer, that's the time. Not only do you need your agent available, and she is always available. Like, I've seen her tell funny stories about pulling over in a parking lot, taking out her laptop and helping somebody write an offer. She'll also get in touch with Shant and help make sure that it's a strategic offer, that they know exactly what the difference of an extra $20,000 is, maybe above over asking, what closing dates that they can have. So sometimes that makes a difference with the offer standing out to the seller, as well as really getting that property specific pre-approval to show the seller that this borrower has all the ducks in a row, is working with a fantastic agent and a lender that delivers. So the first question I have is, who pays the buyer's commission? Like, this question is a little bit long, so I apologize, but it looks to me like they're asking, am I better off just going direct to a listing without an agent? Will I save money? And who's paying my buyer agent? I hope that's the correct question that was just there.
First of all, no, do not go directly to the listing agent. Reason being is you will not get any representation. So one of the best part is when you select your buyer's agent, there is no cost. So there's absolutely no fee that comes out of your pocket, because buyer's agents get paid by the commission through the listing agent. So the listing agent goes and takes a listing, puts a home on the market, has a listing contract with the seller, and right then and there, when he signs the listing contract, he or she, the commission gets agreed upon. The commission cannot be renegotiated afterwards. So let's say there's a listing and X amount. And again, the commission is not set. So if I say 6%, that doesn't mean all the listings have 6%. This is just a number. So if it's 6%, there will be 3% to the listing agent, 3% to the buyer's agent. So you as a buyer, you get the best representation for free from your buyer's agent. Should you just go directly to the listing agent, you will just do one thing. You will make more money to the listing agent in his or her pocket, because again, the commission is already agreed upon before the property gets listed and comes on the market. So commissions do not get renegotiated after the fact. So again, you cannot save any money. You will just make somebody more money, and you will not get any representation. So a listing agent, or actually, let's see if there's another question for us, because I think I'm going too far. But so the bottom line is now, do not go to the listing agent directly. Select your buyer's agent. There's no fee involved, and you get the representation that you want and deserve and really need in this market.
Yeah, so the one follow-up was the person said, so I don't save the 3%.
No.
And the answer is no. The 3%
no,
goes to the listing agent as well.
I mean, there's one way. If it's a for sale by owner, right? Maybe I should elaborate a little bit. So if it's not a listing that's actually listed with another real estate company, if it's a for sale by owner, you know, people go directly to the owner. That might be a different situation. There's actually not many for sale by owners in the market right now, because, you know, sellers know that they will get the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time if they actually listed in the multiple listing service with an experienced agent. But that's really the only way when buyers says, oh, I can save some money. And even then, what actually happens if they go directly to an owner, there's so much more work that you have to do as a buyer, and so many mistakes that you can make and will make just because you're not doing this for day-to-day basis, right? You actually a lot of times spend more money, you know, 90% of the time spend more money, or the deal will fall through because you just don't know how to navigate it.
Right. And the seller doesn't know how to navigate it either without somebody. So absolutely. Great answer. The next question is, it looks like it says, okay, I'm not ready to buy for 6 to 12 months. Should I still get a pre-approval and have a conversation with you, or like, what do I do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a lot of buyers that come to me and actually say that. So when I tell everyone, get pre-approved, because first of all, maybe you are ready. You just don't think you're ready, and you are already ready, right? So get the pre-approval. And even if it's not, you know, if Sean tells you, hey, you know, it's better maybe if you wait a little bit longer, you can still have the conversation with me and we'll just stay in touch. But in most cases, buyers think they're not ready and they're actually ready. So it's always good to get started and get the pre-approval and just get the conversation started. And I can also give you, myself and Sean can give you some tips and hints to what to do if, you know, you're maybe not ready at this time.
I couldn't agree more with that, because of two things. There's so many misconceptions that I hear from buyers when they meet with me to have their pre-approval, in terms of like how ready they are. And Adriana couldn't be more right. You know, people come in with thinking that, you know, they need to have 20% down, or maybe their credit's not as good as it needs to be, or maybe that the payments are going to be higher than they thought in terms of their budget. So the common feedback I get from people all the time is like, you know, there's so many instances where I have somebody come in and meet with me over a Zoom call, and they tell me they're a year out or 2 years out. We get them pre-approved, and then they find a house 2 weeks later. I'm like, what happened to a year? They're like, you know, well, you know, once you gave me all the information, I realized I was much more ready and prepared than I thought I was. Now, with the alternative, you know, sometimes, you know, there's stuff like credit issues and all that stuff that pops up, or maybe your income's not quite where it needs to be. With us knowing what that is in advance, it gives you plenty of time to work on fixing those things and having direction on how to get yourself prepared. So you can never, in my opinion, get pre-approved too early in the process. I think it's there's no cost, there's no obligation, you know, it's just purely informational. And I think it's super important.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Sorry, just very quick, Bob, there's nothing worse too. Like, for example, if buyers start out looking and they don't have that pre-approval, and then the offer deadline is probably the next day, right? And then you don't have that letter in hand. And again, not every letter is a letter that my clients are getting from the Champinosian team, because there are, unfortunately, letters out there that's, you know, called the pre-qualification also, and it's really somebody that didn't check everything that they should be checking. And then you come to the offer time, right? And most listing agents, especially experienced listing agents, know the difference between the two letters. If something was actually really legit checked from the borrower, or if it's just someone that says, oh yeah, you approved for this amount and we don't have to check anything. And then your offer will not get accepted. If you do not have a solid pre-approval accompanied with your offer in this market will simply not have a chance. And you know, there's nothing worse than sitting there and losing your house, your dream house, because you were not prepared right. And it's very, very, very important.
Yeah, that's a great point. And not all pre-approvals are the same. So I love that you say that. Another thing, I don't mean to embarrass you, Shant, but he will call the listing agent on your behalf when Adriana puts in an offer and tell them, you know, I checked their credit, income, and assets. This borrower is good to go, and I feel 100% confidence, which just gives you an extra boost to win that offer.
Correct. And that helped in more situations than you know, because listings agents like to hear that. They like to speak to the lender. And then, because obviously if the listing agent feels better about the offer and everything that accompanies the offer, one thing being the pre-approval, then the listing agent will take that information and bring it to his or her client and say, listen, I feel super comfortable. I know the agent has been in the business for a long time. I've done many, many deals with this agent, and I feel comfortable that she has the great clients that are great approved, ready, and you know, the transaction will go smoothly. And then obviously the seller will listen to his or her listing agent, right? Because that's why the seller hires the listing agent, in order, you know, to trust the listing agent and to take his or her advice.
Wonderful. Well, we have no more questions at this point. So do you want to walk them through the next steps? I did get a question in here that said, how do I get started?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, again, we have a conversation. I listen to your needs and wants, and I try to match it up with the properties that are currently available. And I set up showings. Most clients love when I go with them to the homes. Because when I go through it, I'm not a home inspector, I'm just disclosing that, but I've been doing this for so long, right? So I kind of know what to look for, and I point things out to clients, and they love that because I go kind of with my, you know, my eye, and I'm like, I don't know, you know, this might be something we want to ask more questions about it. You know, this looks like an old water stain. Let's ask and see if the homeowner knows anything about it. Again, things that you know and learn after being in this business for over 20 years, like if you have a homeowner, you might not see those, right? So I go through it with a very skeptical eye, and I point things out, but I also point out good things, not just bad things, obviously. So we go through, have the showing, and then afterwards, it's just, you know, conversation. Obviously, I ask my clients, most importantly, do you like the property? You know, what do you like about it? What you don't like about it? And then it's really, if you would like to make an offer, I do all the paperwork. It's all electronically now. I'll send it to my clients via Dotloop. It gets signed, and then it's up to me. I am the negotiator. I love to negotiate. I will do whatever it takes to get my client's offer accepted. I ask every client, how badly do you want this particular home? And, you know, depends on the answer. I'll do whatever it takes to get the offer accepted. I sit on the side of the road, I type up the offer, I talk to listing agents, I get everything, you know, in order, in line to get the offer accepted. In this market, there is, in most cases, as Sean said, in over 50% of the cases, there are multiple offers. In the area that I work mostly in, there are sometimes up to 30 offers on a property. So again, the more solid, the more competitive your offer is, the more likely it gets accepted.
Wonderful. So thank you so much. From here, everybody who's on and everyone who watches it after the fact in the recorded version, the next step to have is to set up a one-on-one consultation with Adriana. You are going to have an amazing experience working with her. She'll give you a personalized introduction to Shant. You can reach out to us directly as well. And also, if you're not quite ready to buy now, still set up a call with her. As she talked about, to answer that question earlier, even if you think you're 3 to 6 to 12 months, 2 years out, you never know what is going to happen once you start the conversation, get a pre-approval, and you will either end up purchasing earlier, maybe your home dream can come true sooner, or by the time you get there, you will be super prepared and ready to go. Also, feel free to follow all of us on social media and let us know any questions you have. All of Adriana's contact information is here, and you'll get a follow-up from her as well. Thank you both so much for doing this.
Thank you. This was awesome. I
Thank you.
appreciate you having me, Adriana.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for everything. And yeah.